Yo, welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. In today's video, we are taking a look at this integrated cockpit from Tavelo. Tavelo calls this their AVRO Gen 1 cockpit, and there's basically three reasons why this cockpit piqued my interest. So number one is the dimensions of this cockpit. So as you can see, guys, this is a 140 millimeter length stem, and then the width on the handlebars is 36 centimeters. It's very aggressive, it's very specific, but what I've learned is not a lot of brands offer this particular specs for an integrated cockpit. So it's really nice that Tavelo is thinking about this for the consumers out there who need such a specific dimensions of handlebars. Now, the second reason this cockpit piqued my interest is the price of it. So you can purchase this cockpit directly from Pandapodium for $300 USD at the time of this video. I did pay for these with my own money, and shipping took about 2 weeks or so. And the third reason, and I think this is going to be the most important reason for you guys out there watching this video, is at the time of this video, the availability of sizes on Pandapodium is pretty plentiful. Of course, you should always double check by sending them the email to make sure they have your size in stock. But as far as I can tell, the sizes on there right now, a lot of sizes are available. And this brings me to the issues I have with my EXS Aerover cockpit. The first one that I have, or problem I have with that cockpit, is number one is just the availability of it. The sizes are always out of stock, and you basically have to spend time on their Instagram page refreshing their Instagram stories to see if they ever do a restock of small sizes or just even a size run in general. But basically their sizes are always out of stock. And even the cockpit that I have on my SO8, I had to wait over 2 months to get that one in stock. So the fact that these are readily available in this particular dimension is really, really good. The second problem I have with the EXS is they are expensive. Sure, they are cheaper than the Revol cockpit, and yeah, they do save a couple of watts if you're doing like 25 miles in an hour, but at $450, that is pretty expensive for a Chinese brand. And originally they used to only be $400. I'm saying only, but they used to only be $400. But then because they got popular on the internet, on the forums, and on YouTube, EXS decided to increase the price from $400 to $450. So all things considered, these are a really good value for the specs that you get. Looking at the packaging, Tavelo actually packaged the handlebar a little bit nicer than EXS did, but you do get all of the similar accessories. Of course, you get a mount for your computer, you get some Pandapodium socks. You also can specify which headset spacers you need to run so that Pandapodium can provide those with you. For myself, because I am upgrading an existing frame of mine, I went with the FSA style of headset spacers so that everything will work together. I should also note that unlike the EXS Aerover cockpit, these will not work with the 1 1/4 oversized steer tube. With the EXS, those come with shims so that if you are running a traditional 1 1/8 diameter steer tube, you can throw those shims on there. But these will not work with those oversized ones. They just basically work with a standard diameter steer tube. The fit and finish on these handlebars resemble very much the cockpit on my Windspace T1500 as well as my Windspace SLC, which is a good thing because the cockpit on both of those frames, the stiffness is really good. The fit and finish is also really good. Just inspecting all of the various ports for the cables, there are no rough edges. I don't suspect the cables will get stuck when I go to reroute these cables through this cockpit, but it feels really, really good. And if you compare these to the EXS, these are only slightly heavier than those. And sometimes, especially if you are not doing some sort of weight weenie build, you do want a little bit of extra weight on your handlebars because that usually means that these are going to be really stiff and you shouldn't have any flex in the drops when you are out of the saddle to sprint. Now here is those Tavelo handlebars in comparison to the handlebars on my Windspace T1500. But yeah, the fit and finish on both of these are really good and everything feels really, really stiff. particularly in the drops. And as you can see with the side-by-side comparison, the Tavelo cockpit does look eerily similar to the EXS Aerover handlebars, particularly over the hoods. They both have those dimples and kind of extra grip so that your hands don't slip. But even though they are similar, they are not identical. And I would argue that even though the EXS Aerover, the drops, are stiff enough for me, I don't detect any sense of flex. I do suspect that the Tavelo handlebar will just be marginally stiffer than the EXS cockpit. Just some of the other specs on these cockpit is the reach on these is 77 millimeters, so a little bit longer than the EXS. The drop is 130, and then there is a little bit of a flare at the drops compared to the tops. So since the tops are like 36 centimeters, in the hoods, it's going to be somewhere like 37 or 38 centimeters wide. So that is basically it, guys. $300 for this cockpit. Aesthetics in a style that's very similar to the EXS Aerover handlebars, a full-size one that is readily available. You don't have to worry about these constantly being out of stock, and then you have to follow the Instagram account just to get these Tavelo handlebars. Seems like a pretty good win in my book. So stay tuned later, guys, as I will be upgrading this cockpit onto an existing frame like I mentioned. Questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them down below, and I will check you guys on the next one. And like I said, you should be able to purchase these as of today on Panda Podium's website. See you guys on the next one. Peace.